Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Scamfish presented by SocialCatfish.com. On today's episode, we speak to a woman named Tina from North Carolina. Tina turned to online dating after a breakup with her husband. She met a man named Paul on Christian Mingle, and the two carried on an online relationship. Tina was suspicious that Paul was not who he claimed to be after sending him $13,000. Let's hear what Tina has to say. Real quick, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your comment and like could help stop someone from being scammed. Let's get into it.
Hi, Social Catfish. My name is Tina Oates. I am from South Carolina, and I am recently divorced for the second time. I am a mom of a 20-year-old child who I'm super proud of. We have two poodles. We have one standard poodle that's grown, and then we just got another standard poodle puppy. And we also have a small little Chinese crested powder puff dog and a bunny. So I have a zoo. Currently, I am trying to complete an online course in medical coding, so that way I can start a new career path. I like the environment around a medical community where people are doing things that are medical. And so that's kind of where I am. For whatever reason, I don't know. I got all these Black Friday sale things for like Match.com and ChristianMingle.com. I had a little bit of a thing because I wasn't officially divorced just yet, but I was separated. So technically it was okay, but I wasn't sure just for my own personal standing. But I just thought, well, it would just be nice just to see how people are, because I haven't dated I was married for 21 years, so I haven't dated in 21 years. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I had a couple, 3 or 4, coffee dates, and nothing really came of it, and was starting to kind of lose interest. And then there was just like this one last person, and I thought, well, I will reach out to this person. According to his description, he was in Indianapolis. But I just went ahead and reached out. He responded back, just, hey, this is me, can we do this? Can we just go ahead and start texting? And a lot of people like to do that, and I'm for that because it's a real pain to text on those online dating apps. So that to me wasn't a big deal. We kind of went from there and started chatting. He told me what he did. He owned his own company, and he was a consultant in building and structural engineering. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So we went back and forth for a little bit. At the same time that I was communicating with him in the beginning, I was also had a x-ray or a test done, and it showed a suspicious spot on my spine. I am a 13-year breast cancer survivor, as well as a 33-year Hodgkin's lymphoma survivor. So anything suspicious that ever shows up on anything, or the word suspicious, makes anyone nervous. And it was hinted that it was the breast cancer, and it was probably black. And if it's in my spine, then that means it's stage 4. I know a lot of people who have stage 4 breast cancer and are living, but it's constant medication. And I wasn't sure how I was going to get that because I just went off my ex-husband's insurance, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to find the right type of treatment. I was kind of a mess. And so that kind of happened probably about week 2.5 into talking, and we would text probably every day. But then all of a sudden he was just like, really like, hey, I really like you. Can we just be like this? Can we just be exclusive? Because I thought I was dying. So I said, sure. I didn't know, that's terrible. And then during that time as well, he also got a contract, said that he had to be gone for 2 weeks. And it was a very big project for him. It was supposed to be extremely lucrative. He told me he was going to ask his sister for a loan, and so that way he could get this one particular product that he needed to finish the job. He is very, very good. He's very smooth, very good. I thought my ex-husband was smooth. I mean, not smooth, but sneaky, but not like this. My ex-husband's an ass. Back to the needing of this particular product. If he got this product, he would be able to complete the project and come home, and then we would meet, and all would be lovely. My ex-husband's an engineer, so I sort of filled in the blanks with what his job was going to be. And then when his sister could not come through with the cash, $15,000, he asked me for $2,000. And I was like, you can't ask me for that. You're not supposed to ask me for that. I don't know you. And it even says on the dating site that you're not supposed to ask people for money, and I'm not supposed to give it to you. Well, if you trusted me like I trusted you, if you loved me like I loved you, then this wouldn't be a problem and I wouldn't need to prove anything. And I'm like, well, I can't even figure out if you're even real. I don't know. I really don't know how I could have been so dumb. It was the way that he wrote was really sweet. He had everything that I look for. He's got the blue eyes. The accent was a bonus because that's always attractive. He was intelligent and kind and caring over email and things like that. So I went and I sent him $2,000. I never, ever, ever am that irresponsible with cash. Ever. And then on top of it all, I took a picture of the statement that I sent, which had all my banking information on it. And I only had a little bit set aside after we sold my marital home because I had to pay off some credit card debts because my daughter and I had to live off of credit cards for a while because my ex-husband's an ass. And until he was told to pay, he wasn't really paying anything in alimony. And this is not our first time going down the divorce road. We went down it one time before. So he had to pay child support and alimony at that time. But this time, because our daughter had turned 18, he didn't have to pay that. And because she was 18, she refused to see him. And that's a whole different story and one I'm not going to go into. But so because of that, I lost access to any income that I would have. And I haven't worked in forever. Because we agreed that I'd be a stay-at-home mom. I had worked partially and taught piano lessons and things like that. So then there was another request for he just needed $2,000. So I sent him another $2,000. And so I'm up to $4,000 plus the fees. And even the person at the bank was like, I think you're being scammed. And I'm like, really? And she was like, yeah, I think so. I'm not going to approve any more wire transfers. I drove all the way to another branch, which was about 40 minutes out of my way, so that I could go in and get a wire transfer. So I did that, and then that was $6,000. So now we're up to 12 plus fees, and the fees run. I figured it up. It's probably around $13,000. Emailed me a copy of his check to show that he had the money, but that it wasn't released yet to his account. I checked the bank. It was a real bank. He sent me a picture of his passport. It wasn't a U.S. passport, though. It was his Canadian passport because he doesn't travel with his U.S. passport because people don't like U.S. citizens that much. So he uses his Canadian passport. So I had a copy of that. I had a copy of all of the things that he had bought while he was there for the project, the equipment and things that he needed. He sent me 2 or 3 invoices for those. And then the thing is that when he would get on Skype, it was him. It was the guy in the pictures. And so after that, I realized he wasn't coming home. And I'm just like, this is done. And I'm never going to see this. And he's like, well, if you do this one thing for me, if you will, I want to transfer this amount of money into that account that he had the number for, which was closed, by the way. So that sign sounded a little illegal to me. And so I'm not money laundering for somebody. I don't know what it was for, but that is the reason that I never got my $12,000 is because I never allowed him to send the money over when I needed to send the additional monies that were in the account to someone here in the United States. At that point, I had found out that I was not dying with cancer and that it was just an anomaly on the CAT scan, and then I would just need to follow back up in 6 months, which I have, and I'm glad to say that it's totally fine. I do not have a repeated breast cancer, so thank God. So I'm thankful for that. I watched the channel and I watched an interview or two, and I thought, well, I'm not alone, and that's really sad that people do this to one another, and or they take someone else's picture. So when I saw the interview and I saw that, I reached out to Social Catfish and like, she's not the only one. And my hope is that, that if there is something that can be found out, I'd like to know.
After receiving this video message, our search specialist Lenny immediately got to work to find closure for Tina. She used the tools on our site, socialcatfish.com, to vet this mysterious man, Paul, and got results in minutes. If you're looking to verify your online lover, the first step would be to use the tools on our site. You can click the link in our bio and check them out. Just hitting like, comment, and subscribe helps us build more tools out for you to use in the future. Now it's time to meet with Tina to let her know what we found.
Hi, Tina.
Hi, Lenny. How are you?
I was really glad that you came and told your story. I looked at your previous interview, and so I was able to find out more about what you went through. The reason you came forward is because you wanted other people to know what you went through so that they could avoid, because you knew you'd been scammed. And so the more people that we educate and show what can happen, the better we are at preventing those criminals getting their foot in the door.
Yeah, that's the hope, right?
Right. And if you're a good, honest person, don't we just kind of think everybody else is also?
That's kind of what the two people that know told me. Well, you always think the best of everybody, so that's what you were thinking, but you were wrong. And
Yeah. But it's not a fault, because that's a good thing. Okay, well, I want to kind of go through some of these items that you gave us. I'm going to start with the passport.
Okay.
He gave you this passport. He basically said something like, I'm using my Canadian passport because they don't like Americans here. Well, I'm going to give you a few tips about how you can tell if it's a real fake passport. First thing I always do is I Google, what does a real Canadian passport look like? My number one tip for everyone is you don't have to know what a passport of another country or even the US looks like. One of the first things I look at is the signature. And in this case, the name on the passport is Hanneson Paul Durson, but the signature is like a capital E and a capital G. There's no way that that resembles that name whatsoever in any way.
Oh, I didn't even look at that.
Yeah. And that's something that scammers are betting that you're not going to look at, because they can't really write that American name very good or convincingly anyway. Another thing that I always do is I crop this photo out of the passport and I run it through facial recognition. And in this case, I actually found the exact photo that this face was cut out of this man. So he didn't go to Walgreens and get an official passport photo. Passport photos are really specific. They have to have the right size of head. They have to have certain things. And so that's another way that you can just consider, is this passport real? Those are some of the ways that you can find out. When he was on Skype, was it talking like we are now for a length of time, or was it very short?
Probably about 20 minutes. Then the other times it was probably, I would say, 10 minutes or so.
Technology is getting better and better. And you know, we've always said, get a video chat or you can't believe anything that you see.
Right.
But scammers are getting smarter. They can make a real version of any person they choose. They take their photo, they take different points of their face, and then all they do is they can film themselves talking like you and I, but look like the person that they've sent a still to.
Oh my God.
It takes a lot of time. And so in this case, if this man's photos a lot, they're going to use that technology a lot with this man appearing to be face to face with you. The next thing that I have here is this airline ticket that you sent me. And so a lot of times when a scammer is finding out about a person, they might find out that they've never been anywhere, whatever. But we know, like from your airline ticket, it kind of looks, you know, official. It's got a nice graphics. It's got a nice box, right? But if you look closely, we have an airline ticket that is coming from gleamsplaces@gmail.com.
Yeah.
An airline officially would not use Gmail. Priceline would not use Gmail. I don't know whoever else. They have their own extensions when they're sharing it. The other thing that is always should be on itinerary is the airport codes.
Right. I into that.
Another thing is this has got 20,000 AED. Convert that into USD, it's about $5,000. If that's a good price for an airline ticket, you can make a judgment there. But those are just things you can do if you find yourself with an airline ticket like this. Okay, I'm going to look at this receipt. It says it's still instead of steel.
Oh,
So, Grip Pack Lee Wu Stell Group. And I believe that means it's a steel group because these are steel parts. And then below that it says sales and hires of drilling equipments. So most companies would certainly proofread their invoice before they had it printed, their forms of any kind. A good exercise is to pull out a receipt of your own. There's no cents, there's no tax or anything like that. And likely there would be part numbers. There would be all kinds of things on this receipt that doesn't match. And we can go through all of these things and say, well, it still looks real to me. It might be real. And then he manipulates you into saying it's real. But the one in this case is the customer's signature here. It doesn't match the one on the passport either. Okay, so the real man in your photos I found, his name is Mark Brunetz. Actually, he's an American television host of a show called Clean House. And so he's actually a public figure. He's a celebrity of sorts. It was easy after I found his name to find his Instagram page. His son is on that page, who he told you was Terry.
okay. I think I know who you're talking about. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you're going to look it up when we hang up.
I
on Yeah, but one thing that is very interesting too is that a lot of people go, these scammers are getting so dumb. They sent me a picture of a TV host. That's so dumb. Did he think I wouldn't find out? Well, they don't know our pop culture. They don't know our extensive choices of, in this case, TV shows or things that we might watch. They're only looking for a face that they can manipulate and that they can pull off as a hook to the victim.
Well, I would just like to say that I really appreciate the work that you did. I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate I guess the reason for your website, is just for information and to make people aware. And I find that to be fantastic, especially now that I'm naive. And then I'm like, oh, well, my gosh, here's somebody doing something really nice. That's really good. I mean, you're providing all that for somebody, someone who can watch it and, and then they can learn. And it's information that, maybe some people know, but some people don't. And then at least it puts that in their head. So that way they know. And, so I really think I think Social Catfish is just a great thing. I think what you do, what Drew does, and all of that is just fantastic, and all the team.
And again, it's just been such a pleasure meeting you. You're just such a lovely person. It really has been a pleasure for me.
Thanks for watching another episode of Scamfish presented by SocialCatfish.com. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.
Scams come in so many different forms. If you have been a victim of any of the scams below, please email us at sharemystory@socialcatfish.com. We'll get to the bottom of it with help from our Social Catfish team. By sharing your story with our YouTube audience, we can educate, spread awareness, and maybe someday we can put an end to these scams.